Welcome to Mindfulness Lists. The next section of A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle is called Forgetfulness of Being. So this section of the book, it starts off, it says, ego is always identification with form, seeking yourself and thereby losing yourself in some form. Identification with form, that's what it is. And so this is a small section. Talks about thought forms, something that we constantly have going. Thought forms are like job security. They constantly happen. I posted something on Facebook this morning and can't even remember what it said. It said something like, the only thing we can control is what we focus our awareness on. I think that's what it said. And that was a pretty true statement. You think about the truths in life, we control nothing besides what we focus on. Up to this point, in the second chapter, Eckhart Tolle has been talking about all the things that we can identify with. And when you think about it, just think about it for a minute. What do we identify with? Our roles, being a parent, our job, mainly. The things that, occur in our daily lives. Those are the things we identify with usually. I'm a middle-class person, I'm a man, I'm a woman. These things, and they take up our energy, to uphold these personas and to constantly wrestle with these thoughts of, oh, I'm this guy, I'm a waiter, and maybe I need to be achieving more in life. That's a lot of energy. And when you think about it, when you step back and you use, you role model and you use the wisdom of people that came before us, it's a waste of time. They say that people on their deathbeds, a person on their deathbed will never probably say, God, I wish I would have spent more time at the office or more time at work. When we are on our deathbed, probably the thing that we're going to wish that we had done more is spent more time with our families and friends. That's probably it. And more time having fun. And there's a balance of that. You need to work in order to have fun. You need to work in order to support your family, unless you're some trust funder, which I'm not, and bless them. That would be awesome. I'm not, trying to rain on their parade. But you think about all these things that take up a huge amount of energy, identifying with all these things, and things that we get lost in, things that hold us back, just getting lost in being identified with these things. What my intention is usually when you, like, if you've ever played that telephone game, you play the telephone game and somebody says something, and then each time it goes to the next person, it changes a little bit. Usually when you get things straight from the source, if you read it straight from the book, it's the best thing, because the thing about Eckhart Tolle is he's incredibly intelligent and precise. So my suggestion to you would be either to read the book or to get the audiobook if you don't have time to read the book. Time is pretty precious. But sometimes when you hear something and somebody says it and puts a little twist on it, maybe you can understand it in a better way. And even better than that, when you read something and then you put it into your own words, it's even better. So I'm just trying to be a conduit or a channel here to give this, maybe put a twist on this information, maybe simplify it and make it more available to people. That's my intention, but I'm not trying to claim that these are original thoughts of mine, because they're not. And they're probably not original thoughts of Eckhart Tolle's as well. This information has been distilled from the many wisdom teachings of the world. And it's just a wonderful thing that somebody so smart has took the time to condense it all into a concise book. It's a wonderful thing. But now that I've gotten lost, let me look back at the point I was trying to make. Forgetfulness of being. Exactly. Perfect. Forgetfulness of being. It's right there. It's with you. How could you forget this? It's something it's just right there with you. Yet we do. Daily, getting lost in our thoughts. The best solution that I have found is meditating every single morning. Life is so busy, and you gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. But you gotta take the time in order to create space, and in order to stay healthy, just to keep going and going and going. You gotta put some reserves in, and taking time to meditate, what it does for me is it creates a little buffer, a little space for the inevitable stress that I'm going to go through in my day. I take 20 minutes each morning and I just focus my awareness on awareness. And it just it gives you some reserves. And this stuff that we're talking about, it's great to talk about it, and it's great to think about it, but it's really all in the practice. Just being aware of awareness and being aware of these conditions that we're talking about. Being, aware of the ego, identification with form. Very simple to understand. And so when you sit down in your mindfulness practice, what happens is sometimes when you're starting, it's kind of hard to do, because what you'll realize is when you sit down is that there's a lot going on in there. So you kind of, what'll happen is you will lose your focus. You'll sit there and then something will come up. Oh, I got to take the kid to school. Oh, I got to get the tickets for the movies tonight. Oh, I gotta pay my insurance, whatever comes up. It seems like either there's these things that are already inside your mind, or the mind, what happens to me is I'll start planning in the morning, and that's awesome that your mind is it's doing that automatically. It's helping you, and you just kind of say thank you to it. It's like a little kid helping you out, and you're like, okay, thank you. I'm doing my mindfulness practice. Back to the mindfulness practice, being aware of awareness. There's other things, I find being aware of awareness the purest form of meditation, to whereas other ones, they're kind of like manipulation, and it's okay to do that. I think it's cool to have being aware of the senses. You could just, like, the most basic form of meditation a lot of people consider is awareness of the breath, and it's kind of manipulation, because you're using something to focus on. You're focusing on something that is physical, which is the rising and falling of your belly. And it's good. It's a good thing to use when you first start meditation. So you focus on the rising and falling of your belly, and you'll get sidetracked. You'll start thinking about something else. And when you realize that you're thinking about something else, you come back to your belly. You just keep bringing it back and back and back. The way that a guy that I really like, a Buddhist dude named Jack Kornfield, explains it is it's kind of like training a puppy. You put the puppy on the pee mat. The puppy goes and walks off the pee mat. You grab the puppy, bring it back to the pee mat. The puppy goes and walks off, and you keep bringing it back. And it's just like that. We need to train ourselves, to concentrate. It's, you don't stop giving. You don't give up when, how long is it going to take a child to learn to walk? You don't ever give up on a child. How long will it take a child to learn how to speak? You don't ever give up. It's like, okay, it's been a year now. Our kid's not speaking, so we're just going to give up on him. You don't give up. This is a practice. It's not something, it's something it's job security. You got to do it all the time, all the way until you die. And once you get into it, it's a very rewarding, blissful thing. You just get there, and it's something it's just like the beautiful thing about meditation and yoga is you don't have to pay anything to do it. Yoga, once you learn how to do yoga. If anybody that's listening ever wants to do yoga, contact me through my email, mindfulnesslists@gmail.com. I will give anybody a free yoga class. And the way that I try to set up yoga is I will teach you so you don't need a teacher. You can take the information that I give you and you can use it for the rest of your life for free. I will give anybody free yoga lessons. And the reason why I want to do this, the reason why I am doing these podcasts and why I will teach yoga for free is because I want the world to be a better place. And there's a selfish motive behind it. I want the world to be a better place for me. And that sounds selfish, but in the circle of giving and receiving, the main thing is you have to be included. And yes, I am selfish. I want the world to be a better place for me, for my child, and for you, and for my family, and for your family. And just giving this stuff away, what mindfulness and what yoga does is it creates more consciousness, people being more conscious. It brings that energy into this world. And that's what we need. We need to focus on solutions. When people go to their job and they hate their job, and when you hate what you're doing, it brings that energy into the world. And when you hate what you're doing, your mind is somewhere else, and it brings that unconscious energy into the world. I know this sounds really kumbaya, hippie type crap, and I'm not into that. But when you like what you're doing, it brings that energy into the world. There's this thing, what's it called? It's called, I can't even think of it. What's the word for it? Entrainment. So, there's different forms of entrainment. There's entrainment between, probably the most, common thing, or something I'm just at a loss for words. I apologize. Probably one of the most phenomenal things is that babies will entrain to their mothers. When a mother holds their baby, their hearts start to beat at the same rate. How beautiful is that? And we entrain into each other as well. So when we entrain to consciousness, that's what happens. Maybe, I don't know where it's at, if 10% of the world or 20% of the world or 50% of the world is entrained. But when we bring this energy into the world, the people around us entrain to it. It's infectious, and we have to start doing this stuff to make the world a better place. Obviously I'm not going to save the world, but this is where it starts. Just like Gandhi said, be the change that you seek in the world. The world will change. The way the world looks will change when you change the way you look at the world. Look for solutions. You are the solution. We are the solutions to make things better. Stop saying, politics and this and that. Just do your homework. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Just do what you think is, righteous thing. You don't have to be righteous. Whatever is good. And if that's doing whatever, waving to somebody, or going and giving your time to a dog shelter, or paying attention to your child, or going and donating your time. I know a lot of people don't have time to donate. I sure as hell don't. I don't make that high of an income, so I don't have any time to donate. This is my donation. I'm not getting paid for it, but I love doing this. And back to the point, teaching mindfulness and teaching yoga, it's something that's beautiful because it's completely free. And once you get into meditation, you'll realize how blissful it is. You just sit there. You hear that? That's enlightenment. That's awareness. That's consciousness right there. When you rise above thought and you become present in the moment, you rise above thought. You just fly right past that thing. The thing that a lot of religions agree upon is that we are crazy. We are crazy, in our thoughts. If you follow your thoughts, you're going to get dragged down this wild river of thoughts and emotion. You need to rise above that. And the only way to rise above it is being present in this moment. Listen, are there thoughts going on in your mind right at this moment? Ask yourself, is there inner dialogue? And then listen. Close your eyes and listen. Are there voices in your head? Rise above thought. That's how you do it. That's how you break this chain of identification with form. You rise above it, and you can do it. I can do it, and we can help each other to do it.
Eventually, time is an angel or devil, best friend or worst enemy.